And I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Anna. I'm marketing coordinator at Head of the Curve Homes, and I have some questions for Erica and Lorin to kick off. So the first question is for Erica. When selling your home, how important is property presentation?
So in real estate, property presentation and home preparation honestly are just as important as setting the right list price. You truly do only have one chance to make a first impression, and presentation of your property, from the actual condition itself to the photos to the open house to showings, all of that is crucial, and it all kind of works hand in hand. So getting the home ready for market entails things such as, staging when necessary, doing what you can do to enhance your curb appeal, cleaning, decluttering, and taking care of any sort of like blatant repair items. For example, if you haven't attended to a minor issue like a broken doorknob, for instance, a potential buyer may wonder like whether the house has larger, costlier issues that haven't been addressed either, even though there may be nothing else wrong with the home. We actually offer a complimentary consultation with Odin, who specializes in staging not only vacant homes, but also owner-occupied properties. We also work with a variety of vendors who can manage and perform all of the necessary, market-ready repairs. Failing to do some of these things may impact how long your home actually sits on the market and ultimately the final sales price. So it's really important to kind of take care of, getting your house ready for market and putting your best foot forward from the very beginning. And then just something worth noting with regards to the home prep expenses, we can actually cover the upfront costs for those fees through a program called Compass Concierge. The program has changed slightly because of COVID, but broadly speaking, we can provide up to about $25,000 for market-ready home improvements with a straight reimbursement at the close of escrow.
Great, thank you. And a follow-up question, so what are the top ways to enhance curb appeal?
So the first thing I want to say is that curb appeal is really nothing more than another form of marketing designed to sell your house from the outside in. Curb appeal, it really kind of sets expectations in terms of what you could potentially expect once you walk through that door. And the assumption is if you've taken care of your house on the exterior, you more than likely have maintained it well on the interior. Prospective buyers are more inclined to look inside if they like what they see on the outside. And at first glance, you want your property to at least have some sort of, wow factor. And if it doesn't have that huge wow factor, at a minimum, it shouldn't turn off a large, majority of buyers. So with that being said, there's a laundry list of, improvements you can make to enhance curb appeal, such as painting the front door. That's a very easy, cost-effective thing you can do. Sometimes painting the front door like a pop of color, like a vibrant color, like a mustard or a rust orange or turquoise can go a very, very long way. If there's chip stucco and peeling paint everywhere, we definitely suggest painting the exterior or perhaps just painting the wood trim if that needs work. And if the house doesn't necessarily need to be painted, you could power wash it. So there's, you definitely have options. Things like updating the exterior hardware can also go a long way. So that would include updating the light fixtures, the door hardware, the house numbers, perhaps replacing what's there with something that's a little more fresh, current, and modern. Windows tend to get very neglected. They're installed and that's it. No one ever really touches them or cleans them. So, cleaning windows can be another great way to kind of enhance curb appeal. And then lastly, I would say landscaping, cleaning up the yard, sprucing up the flower bed, maybe adding some plants and flowers with pops of colors, anything along the walkway, anything that people are going to be focused on as they're walking to the front door, you want to make sure shows well.
Great, thank you. The next question is for Lorin. What are the best renovations for resale?
Well, the best renovations for resale are the renovations that are most needed. So if there are any safety issues, I mean, it might not bear, stating this, but if there are any safety issues, leaks, problems with the house, definitely those need to be fixed. And then if just the best renovations for resale tend to be an exterior and interior paint job, because nothing really changes the feeling and the vibe of a house as a fresh coat of paint. It just makes everything feel clean and fresh and new, and it goes a really long way. I would say flooring, you know, depending on what flooring is in your house, sprucing up the flooring. So whether that means new carpeting, if it's old, or refinishing hardwood floors. You don't always have to put brand new flooring in, but there are ways to spruce up what's there. Again, huge bang for the buck on flooring, because that's what people see everywhere. And then I would say, so painting, flooring, and staging. Staging involves putting, you know, it involves Eden, and it involves, you know, putting in more, you know, you want to work with what the architecture of the house is and put furniture in that's appropriate for the architecture of the house. But it typically involves like modernizing it, freshening it up, making it very stylish, and creating a feeling of, you know, you're almost like we're selling the fantasy. You know, we want it to be a little bit aspirational, you know, and when people walk in, they get excited, like, oh my God, you know, I could live like this. That's really what makes people go crazy for a house and buy it.
Thank you. And then last question for you. What renovations yield the highest rate of return?
Interesting, you should ask. So we have prepared a little, I'm going to share the screen again, and we have prepared a few slides on that. And we'll take you through that. The most profitable renovation is a minor bathroom remodel. So just give me a minute to get there. Here we go. Here, and then I'm just gonna, actually, this is the, hold on, give me a second here.
Uh-oh. What happened there? Oh.
Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so here we are with the answer, the minor bathroom remodel. So the average return on resale, and these statistics are from HGTV. So the average return at resale is 102% for doing a minor bathroom remodel, which would include things like, you know, redoing the countertops, maybe painting the cabinets, reglazing the tub or putting in a new tub if it's not salvageable, cleaning up all the grout, new tile, not restructuring the bathroom in terms of where everything is. You can leave everything where it is, leave the shower where it is, leave the bathtub where it is, but freshen up the surfaces. That would be the most profitable remodel that you can do.
So next would be landscaping, and I touched upon this a little bit in terms of just enhancing curb appeal. So whatever you invest in terms of landscaping, the average rate of return is about 100%. So you're definitely going to recoup what you spend. So it's definitely a worthwhile investment. The average homeowner spends about $3,500 for landscaping and $1,465 on a designer, according to the American Nursery Landscape Association. A splash of color at the front of the house, as I mentioned earlier, is a great way to just kind of enhance overall curb appeal, whether it's your front door or just flowers and plants and things of that nature. And then a charming focal point like a walkway and a fountain also adds major value to your property in terms of curb appeal.
This house has all that stuff going on. It has the walkway. If you look straight back in the middle of the picture, there's a green, looks like a huge vase, that's a fountain. So they followed all the rules. And then the next most profitable remodel is a minor kitchen remodel. So again, just basically what it means, minor means is resurfacing, redoing the countertops, the backsplash, and maybe new appliances, but not reconfiguring the whole thing. So again, freshening up what is there. A $15,000 kitchen update covers 30 feet of refacing for cabinets and drawers, a new wall oven, cooktop, sink, and fixtures, laminate countertops, and resilient flooring. So those are definitely the trends, and solid surface countertops, that's definitely what is desired. And you can expect to get about 98.5% of your investment back on a remodel like that.
Okay, so next, it would be exterior improvements. So this would include maybe updating or replacing or installing new vinyl siding, painting the exterior, updating the front entry. The average rate of return here is about 95.5%. The average national cost to replace about 1,250 square feet of vinyl is just about 7,200. And so again, you're going to recoup about 95.5% of that. You can also go more upscale with fiber cement siding. This typically runs about $10,393, and you'll actually recoup a little more than you've invested if you take the upscale route. For a more updated look, you can remove old awnings from windows and doors. You can also swap out damaged like wrought iron railings for real wood supports. If you have security bars on your windows, you could remove that. And this picture shows, it shows updated house numbers. They've added wood accents to the front entry. Their door has the pop of color, nice new lighting fixture. I believe that's Spanish terrazzo tile flooring there. So with a pop of green. So a great way to really kind of invite buyers in.
And then a major bathroom remodel, which means, ripping the whole thing out and redoing the whole thing. You would expect to get about 93% of your investment back from doing a major bathroom remodel. A major bathroom remodel involves expanding an existing 5x7 bathroom, relocating and replacing the tub and toilet, adding designer sinks, faucets, a linen closet, lighting, ceramic tile floor, and exhaust fan. You can expect to spend about $26,000 on that. And it's a give an old vanity a facelift with a new countertop or a clean, fresh look for buyers. That would be more on the minor side. But if you have the appetite, it's a worthy investment.
So next would be major kitchen remodel. We talked about minor kitchen remodels. So if you do a major kitchen remodel, you'll recoup about 91% of what you spend. A complete kitchen remodel in a mid-range home averages about $44,000 and returns about $40,000 at resale. And that price buys 30 feet of cabinets, an island, laminate countertops, stainless steel appliances, and vinyl flooring. If your home's value rises and your kitchen's finishes don't, you could potentially do a major remodel rather than small fix-ups. And a good rule of thumb is to budget about 10 to 15% of your home's value towards your kitchen remodel.
And then replacement windows. This is actually a great thing to do, especially in Southern California, because it really keeps the house cool, when you want it to stay cool. So doing window replacement, and quite frankly, if there are old windows in the home, if people are paying, especially in our area, they're paying top dollar for houses, and many of the old windows don't even operate. So it is a reasonable expectation that buyers who are paying top dollar for a home, that the windows are going to operate properly and they're going to open and close properly. So for energy reasons, and just because that's something that can hang you up when we're in escrow and when the buyer is doing inspections, if the windows are not operating properly, that is an item that buyers are going to ask for to be corrected. So you're pretty much going to run into that issue. So replacing 10 3x5 windows runs about $9,700. On average, nationally, you'll get about $8,700, which is about a 90% recoup rate. And then for hot climates, there's low E gas that reflects heat, And for maximum efficiency, there's argon gas inside the panes to prevent heat and cold. And whenever you're replacing windows now, the dual glazed windows are a requirement. That's what's code, and that's what everyone replaces with.
Okay, so next would be updating a bonus room. So the average return at resale here is about 73%. So converting a 12 by 12 bonus room into a home office costs on average about $13,000 and will bring in about $9,600 at closing. And then you want to just, be cognizant of your target market. You want to decorate to please your different target audience. So families may use bonus rooms differently than an empty nester or someone that's single. So you want to just be mindful of that. And then to create a home office, you can add electric outlets for your computer and other electronics, recessed lighting, obviously, so that you can see. And then kitchen cabinets or bookshelves can help organize the space above your desk.
I think that's it. No. Oh, last one, living room updates. So walls and floors. I kind of talked about this in the beginning. The average return, it says, for living room updates are 40%. For only $25, freshen the living room walls with a coat of paint, a light neutral color. That does not include the labor, though. That includes the paint only. Don't overlook the trim. Brighten it with a high gloss white paint and caulk any open seams between the molding and ceiling and baseboard wall. I cannot tell you how important those updates are, because again, it's about giving people an impression when they come into the home, and when things are bright and clean and they don't see cracks, it gives people truly a security and they feel good about the place, and that's what you're trying to create. So that's why, I take a little bit of issue with 40%. I actually think it's much higher. I think freshening up the walls and the floors goes a really long way. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, now we're at before and after, so I'll stop the share.
Okay, and now we are going to turn it over to Eden, Rountree again of Odin and Friday, home staging and design. We have some questions here for her that kind of pertain to staging. So I will start with the first question, Eden. Thanks again for being here today. And I think you need to take yourself off mute. You're on mute.
And while she's doing that, I'll just say that her company is called Odin and Friday Staging. And Anna, can you put her email and her phone number in the chat so that people can see it? Definitely. And she's a really creative, sparkling person.
We love Eden. We've been working with her for years. So everyone that walks into a property that she has staged falls in love with not only the house, but with obviously all of the furnishings. And they want the house and the furniture to remain exactly as is. And even homeowners, after she's done her staging magic, they're a little upset with themselves that they didn't think of, decorating in the way that she did. They'll live at a house for 10, 15 years and wish, God, if only we could have lived this way for 10, 15 years. So we really enjoy working with her.
We do. And one other, and I'm going to let you talk, Eden, but the other thing I'll say is that when you walk into Eden's homes, they all seem a little bit different. Like sometimes you walk into a staged home and you know exactly what it's staged with, who staged it. Like the stagers use the exact same furniture over and over again. And Eden is always like changing up her artwork and, freshening it up. And it's not cookie cutter. And that's what I love about it.
So our first question for you, Eden, is what is staging for those who aren't 100% sure, and what does it entail?
So, hi, thank you for all the nice words. So staging is it's kind of like you guys said it, it's about making that amazing first impression with your home. So it's like if your home was to go on a first date with somebody or buyers, you want it to look as best as possible. So doing the things that you guys mentioned, painting when possible, doing these little updates where possible, when needed. And then with the staging, you've got someone coming in me in this particular situation, with an objective eye, to sort of try and see it how a buyer would for the first time. So if we're going into a home where we're using some of the owner's items, we'll go in, we'll help sort of pare down personal items, removing personal family photos also helps, and just sort of pulling back. And then we'll bring in and accentuate where needed. If the home is empty, obviously we're bringing in a complete setup. And it's really to kind of help buyers have that moment where they walk into a house and their heart skips and they're like, oh my gosh, what would we like to have, you know, our Christmas dinner here, or the holidays with our families, or, oh, I can see that's where we're gonna put the TV, or, you know. So it helps buyers really make that sort of connection. And maybe it sounds kind of hokey, but it's just that, like, you know, that excitement. And you want them to fall in love with the house, basically. So every house is a little bit different.
Okay, cool. And what are the key I think you touched on this a little, but what are the key benefits of staging and why do you think it works?
Well, yes, it helps the buyers connect. So, and I think when a buyer is able to come in and not be sort of visually distracted by too much stuff, or, you know, maybe their eye gets sort of hung up on, you know, what you're saying with painting, or, you know, it just sort of helps when people are able to come in and really appreciate the space, really be able to see what they can do with it. And I mean, you know, you guys are the experts on the numbers, but I really do think that it adds exponential value to the home, to the sale price.
Totally agree.
Yep. And can you paint a picture for us in terms of what the overall staging process looks like?
Sure. Well, it's okay. So there's two different, if the home is empty, well, either which way, the stager comes in and does a complimentary consult, takes a look at the space, talks with the realtor, the sellers, to see what it is they want, to get a vibe of the home, take measurements where needed. And then if it's a home that's where someone is going to be living in it through the sale process, we'll talk with the seller about which items they need to have in the home. We'll discuss briefly like what can be packed away. So we'll do the consult. From there, we'll supply a proposal with what our estimate price is going to be. And then once the seller and the realtor all agree to it, then we schedule an install date. Install takes 2 days, and then, yeah, we'll make it all shiny and ready for sale. Ready for I was going to say open house, but it's showings now, really, right? Showings, not open house.
And I think right now we're going to pull up some slides that really kind of showcase the transformation in terms of before and after. So what spaces look like before and then after they're staged.
Okay.
This is extreme.
It's such a pretty house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this one was so fun. So this house, to me, we walked in and it felt so glamorous. I just sometimes I sort of imagine like what kind of if the house was to be a human, what would that human be like? And I just thought this one would be like an Ava Gardner or something. She was really swanky, I thought. So yeah, this house, we kind of helped advise the sellers on what to pack away, and we ended up bringing in most of the items for this. Actually, we brought in the sofa and the rug and the coffee table, but yeah, and I believe they painted prior to the staging on this one as well. So
oh no, oh sorry, I went the wrong way. So that one, okay. Here we go.
yes, so this is one of the homes where the sellers were still living in the home through the staging and the sale process. So this was a matter of us coming in, helping the sellers, giving them a list as to what we would recommend packing away. And so it was a lot of them sort of doing prep work prior to the install. And then, them sort of taking care of all that, us bringing in furniture and accessorizing where needed.
And something I want to say here, so this is actually one of our current listings that we have in escrow right now in Inglewood. And obviously the picture on the left is the before. And the sellers did ask, like, if we just sold as is, what would you recommend in terms of a list price? And I felt 100% confident that somewhere between like $765 to $799 would have been the as is list price. With the staging, we came on market $824,900, so $825,000, and we're now in escrow for basically $868,000. And I firmly believe a lot of it has to do with just the presentation of the property and the fact that they took our advice with the staging.
So much. It has totally to do with that. And even the before picture, you know, it's not picked up. So, and you might think that we're doing that for effect, but that's just how it was when we took the before picture. But even if it was picked up, even if there weren't laundry on the couch and whatever, it's such a difference. They painted these cellars, the white sheer curtains, you know, the less is more, you know, not having a lot of stuff is like extremely important.
Yes.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was one that we just did in View Park, and I think honestly, I want to say that it was they were showing it for 3 days before they got offers on it. And this one we actually used some of the seller's items, but we came in and just we did a lot of switching around. We ended up packing a lot of their items away. And I was so pleased with how this one came out. And the house was like kind of modern, but in a, you know, Spanish style exterior. So cool. But I think it came out so beautifully, and it felt amazing when you walked in the front door. It just felt like a breath of fresh air. So I love this one.
Okay, I think that's all the before and afters we have. Okay. So we have to add, so Erica, you asked how you manage staging when someone still lives there, correct?
No, that's, you can ask that question.
Okay, so how do you manage staging when the person is still living in the house?
So again, it's what I'd like to try and do is find the sweet spot with making sure that we are respectful and that the sellers stay comfortable throughout the process. It can be a very invasive, topsy-turvy thing to have A, to sell your house, B, to have someone come in that you don't really know that's saying, pack this, pack this. So we really want to, you know, be respectful of the fact that they're going, it's a lot. So we'll go in prior to the stage, we'll submit a buy room list of what we would recommend packing away and what we would like to bring in. Now, sometimes the sellers are, you know, say, nope, this is a deal breaker. The TV stays there. Fine, we work with it. So it really is, you know, helping to get them to prep. And a lot of times it involves, you know, paring back, we mentioned this, paring back personal items, removing personal photographs is another big one. You know, you want a buyer to come in, you want to help them as much as possible to see themselves there. So you don't want them to get distracted with that. And it's just really prepping. And then we'll come in and we'll accentuate and supplement where needed. So if we need to bring a sofa in, then we'll bring a sofa in. If we need to bring sofa and small stuff, we do that. I'd like to try and use as much as possible of what the seller has, but we'll complement where needed.
And that's one of there are a lot of stagers out there who will not even do occupied homes. They'll only do vacant homes. And that's where Eden it really is very special and really helpful.
I think sometimes it can be more helpful. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a shame really, because it's all homes, you know, have potential to increase their value. And honestly, it really feels cool when you're working with the seller and, you know, they come in and they see what you've done and they get excited. And I mean, it's a different process than staging an empty home, but I really do enjoy it. I do.
Okay. And kind of talked about this a little bit, but how, in your opinion, how does staging affect a home's list and sales price? I think you have actual stats, right? Do you have stats on that?
Do I have stats?
Yeah. No.
I do. I don't have them in front of me though. So, you know, again, and we have kind of talked about this in different pockets, but you know, it is for buyers being able to see the home and to appreciate it and to not get lost in any of the nuances or, you know, any distractions that would take away. So in addition to these other things that you mentioned, you know, doing updates on the exterior, painting, and staging, it all kind of helps elevate. You know, I always think of it like a blind date. Like if I were to go on a, you know, a first date or a blind date with somebody, and I had like, you know, jeans on that didn't fit very well, and like a scruffy top, and I hadn't done my hair, you know, and the impression that I give off to someone if I came in, you know, with an effort, groomed myself, showered, etc., put something nice on. It's that first impression, I think is invaluable, really.
Mm-hmm. And I would definitely say my opinion, and Lorin, you can chime in as well here, is that with staging, you recoup probably 100%, actually more than 100% of your investment. We don't know the exact number, but it's definitely well worth the investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Eden, it might be hard to answer this. I know every situation is a little bit different, but on average, how much can a seller expect to pay for staging, and what are the contract lengths?
So for pricing on staging, yes, every stager is a little bit different. There are different factors. So basically it comes down to overhead costs. So how much inventory are we going to need? How much time will it take? The average install is 2 days, but if you're working with somebody and you're helping, I don't know, pick light fixtures or helping them pack items away, it's time involved. It's the length of time that they would need it. So, you know, the contract can go 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 4 months. I find on average, 60 days seems to be a reasonable amount of time, because even if you go into escrow right away, you still don't want to remove staging before contingencies have been removed. So 60 days is a fair, you know, I think a decent amount of time. You can always go into extensions after that if needed. So I would say, depending on how much, there's also like, if it's stairs, if you've got a condo and you've got to, you know, navigate an elevator, this means that it's going to take my guys more time to get everything into the unit, which costs more. So I would say on average, let's say you could start around 4,000 and average maybe up to 8,000. Also, if you've got a listing that's, say, a multi-million-dollar listing, obviously you're going to have, you know, you're going to have to spend more for the inventory, et cetera. But on average, I would say between 4,000 and 8,000.
Okay. And how does a seller know if they need to stage their home or not?
Well, I think everyone could do with some staging, genuinely. It just helps to have someone come in with an objective eye. Let me put it like this. If I was going to sell my house, I would definitely have to stage it, because living and staging are two completely different things. I mean, trust me when I say my TV's in a place right now and my sofa's in a place that my husband likes, not me. So if I was staging it, it would be set up completely different. So, I mean, whether or not someone looks for services outside, I would say that if you're going to sell your house, it definitely helps to sort of approach it from a buyer's perspective. So yes, of course, I would recommend hiring a stager, a professional stager. But yes, just being able to declutter and have someone coming in with an objective eye, it helps so much. It helps so much.
I agree.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
Okay, those are all of the questions that we have for Eden. Are there any questions in the chat, Anna, for Eden?
No questions. No questions in the chat. Actually, we have.
You want to unmute yourself, Roxanne? Hi.
Yeah, she has to.
Hi. Sorry, I just never know when to. That was really helpful. Thank you. I had 2 questions. The first was about the Inglewood property.
Mm-hmm.
For that property, did they also upgrade the bathroom and the kitchen? Or I think, was it the bathroom and the kitchen that you said that yield like the biggest return in terms of upgrades before selling? Did they?
No, they did not. They did not. Mm-hmm. So they've lived in the home for about 8 years. When they bought it 8 years ago, the kitchen, I would say, was partially updated, but it shows well with the staging. But no, the only thing they did to prepare the house for sale was they cleaned it. They fixed the items that were broken. They replaced a few of the lighting fixtures. They kind of modernized some of the lighting fixtures, and then they did the staging.
And they painted.
Oh yeah,
Oh, they-
yeah.
they
That
did.
was huge. They painted the exterior. They had a lot of different colors going on
Mhm.
in all the rooms.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I guess the other question, I don't know if there's like an actual hard answer behind this, but you know, what is it about like making the inside of a house look modern and clean that might put it on the market, you know, 50 or sell for 50 or 60 or $70,000 over what it would be if it wasn't staged? Like I can understand if you're like upgrading rooms and appliances and windows and plumbing and like really in like big projects that are connected to the structure of the building, but what about like a new sofa and a new light fixture makes the sale price go up so much?
Well, I mean, you're asking a great question because it's not logical. Like when you
No.
really think about it, it's like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you know, big deal. I could get a new sofa,
Mm-hmm.
and the truth is that buyers come to homes and every buyer says, oh, I can see, like I have imagination and I can envision, but no one really can, because the reality is you see what you see and you see what you see, you know? And it's extremely difficult to have a picture in your brain of how everything could be different in there. And so it is totally emotional. Okay. The fact that we can get $50,000-$60,000 above the list price, which happens regularly, it is a totally emotional decision. There is nothing logical about it. Okay. So it's totally appealing to people's emotions. And when they're shopping for a home, they are vulnerable. They're in a very vulnerable state. And it's, again, we're selling like the idea that they could live like that. So powerful. It just, it's primal when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it really taps into people's dreams and what they want for their whole life. You know, I don't need to get too philosophical, but it's that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I imagined, but I wasn't sure if there was like another sort of like concrete response to that. But yeah, definitely it's a benefit to the seller, but not necessarily a benefit to the buyer who's now paying a lot more.
Well, at least, but however, they have a vision,
Right.
and have something to aspire to, and they, you know what I mean? And they can, you know, go forward in that way.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, agree.
Anyone else?
No, it doesn't look like it.
Okay, well, listen, again, we thank you so much for joining us today. We will send out this recording so you guys can have this information if you want, and you'll have Eden's information. Please let us know if there are any topics. We do these webinars the second Thursday of every month from 4 to 5. We really want to bring you content and information that is relevant to you. So please ping us if you have anything that you'd like us to cover, any topics that you're really curious about. We'd be happy to build something around that.
Yeah. Especially you, Roxanne. You are our fan favorite. We like seeing you every month. So if there's something that you would like for us to discuss, definitely, you know, send us an email or let us know.
Awesome. Thank you. They're so interesting. I don't know why more people don't come. Thank you.
A lot of people, they have Zoom fatigue right now.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So, okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.